There are moments when something stirs deep within you. Not loud, not obvious, just a quiet pull, like a thread being tucked in your chest. You wake at the same hour, feel uneasy in certain rooms. You sense change, though nothing around you has moved. That is not random. That is the signal. Before a tree breaks the soil, it is already alive below. The shift always begins in silence, and only those still enough will hear it. This is not a coincidence. It is a calling, and it's time you listened. Growth doesn't always feel like rising. Sometimes it feels like standing still in fog, like questioning everything you once believed, like being buried beneath silence. But a seed doesn't panic in the dark. It doesn't beg for sunlight before it's ready. It lets the soil press against it. It breaks open slowly, invisibly, not because it's weak, but because that's what life demands before the rise. Many of you are there now. You feel lost, stagnant, unsure. You wonder if you failed. But what if this isn't failure? What if it's formation? The world taught you that progress must look like movement, like clarity, like celebration. But real transformation begins in confusion, in stillness, in darkness. This moment, the one where nothing seems to change, this is where the roots grow, not loudly, but deeply, not to be seen, but to prepare. So don't rush the winter. Don't curse the silence. Train within it. Respect the dark, because the deeper the root, the stronger the tree when the storm comes. This is not the end. It is the beginning, quiet, unseen, and sacred. Pain has a voice, but it doesn't scream. It whispers. It doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to show you where you're still holding on. Most people run from pain. They numb it, deny it, wrap it in distractions and call it healing. But on the Shaolin path, we are taught, stop running, sit, breathe, look it in the eye. The fire burns not because life is cruel. It burns because you resist. You hold onto old stories, old identities, old versions of yourself that are no longer meant to survive this season. Pain is a mirror. It reflects your pride, your fear, your control, and it asks, are you willing to let them go? Discipline is not about punishment. It's about presence. To feel what hurts and stay, not escape, not react, but remain anchored while the storm passes through you. This is inner strength, not forged by comfort, but by fire, by choosing to feel when it would be easier to run. The monk does not pretend the flame doesn't exist. He walks through it with awareness because he knows the body strengthens through pressure, the mind through silence, and the spirit through pain fully felt. This is not suffering. This is sacred passage. And if you stay present, the fire won't consume you. It will refine you. The undisciplined mind is loud. It wants comfort, but also success. It craves rest, but demands results. It fears failure one moment and stillness the next. It pulls you in every direction, like wild horses tied to a single rope. And if you don't learn to hold that rope, you'll be dragged This is why discipline matters. Not to control the body, but to train the mind to return, to say, gently but firmly, this is the path. I will walk it, whether my feelings agree or not. In the temple, there are no excuses. Rain or heat, joy or sorrow. The training continues. Not because monks are machines, but because they understand this. Every time you follow through, especially when you don't feel like it, you reclaim a piece of your power. One breath, one movement, one ordinary act done with care. That is how you build inner strength, not through applause, but through quiet repetition. Discipline doesn't silence the chaos overnight, but it gives you somewhere to stand. While the noise passes, it becomes your anchor, your compass, your return. And over time, you begin to trust yourself. Not because life is easy, but because you've proven you will still show up, even when it's not. Discipline is not control. It is devotion. It is love in motion. Most people live in fragments. They are calm only when nothing happens and unravel the moment life begins to move. Or they're always moving, chasing, doing, grinding, but inside they're hollow. Shaolin teaches another way. Not either or, but both. Stillness in motion, motion in stillness. The strike is not separate from the breath. The step is guided by awareness. The body moves, but the mind remains anchored. This is meditation in action, not escape, but presence. When you wash your hands, feel the water. When you walk, listen to your steps. When you speak, respond, don't react. These are not small acts. They are the training. They are the path. The world will always bring chaos, tension, surprise. You cannot remove the storm, but you can become bamboo, rooted yet flexible, soft yet unbreakable. Stillness is not the absence of action. It is the source of all right action. From stillness, clarity rises. From stillness, you choose instead of react. And slowly, without noise or force, you begin to move differently. Not faster, but with direction, not perfect, but awake. When you train your awareness in both silence and motion, life becomes a form of practice. Every moment, a chance to return. This is how peace is found, not by avoiding life, but by entering it fully awake. Letting go sounds simple until it's your turn to do it. You say you've moved on. You whisper, I'm done. But somewhere inside, you're still holding on to the story, to the blame, to the version of yourself that needed to be right or needed to be heard. Words can't release what the body still clings to. In the monastery, letting go isn't a concept. It's a discipline. You begin with awareness. Notice the tightness in your shoulders, the breath that never reaches your belly, the thought that loops long after the moment has passed. That noticing is the gate. Then comes the breath, slow, steady, like waves brushing the shore. The breath tells the nervous system it is safe to relax. It is safe to feel. And slowly you loosen the grip. Not forcefully, but like unclenching a fist you didn't realize was tight. You stop feeding the pain with attention. You stop arguing with the past. And in that softness, a truth begins to rise. None of it is really yours. Not the praise, not the shame, not even the name you've been repeating in your mind. These are just winds passing through the trees. Let them pass. True letting go doesn't feel like loss. It feels like relief, like finally putting down a weight you were never meant to carry. And the more you practice, the lighter you become. Not because life is easier, but because you've stopped mistaking heaviness for worth. Letting go is not forgetting. It's remembering who you were before the pain and returning to that place with breath, with awareness, with peace. We are always waiting for something, a sign, a shift, a moment that feels big enough, loud enough to change everything. But the Shaolin path is not made of lightning strikes. It is carved, slowly, deliberately, in silence. The world you see outside is a reflection of the world you carry within. And the greatest transformations don't begin with noise. They begin with noticing. Presence is not a luxury. It is a practice. And it is the only place where real power lives. You want clarity? Start with one breath. You want peace? Start with one small act done with care. You want purpose? Start with what's right in front of you and meet it fully. Before this month ends, pause. Clean your space. Not for perfection, but for peace. Turn off the noise. Not for escape, but to hear yourself think. Sit in silence. Not to withdraw, but to return. Return to your breath. Return to your body. Return to now. This is how the shift happens. Not all at once, but moment by moment, choice by choice. You don't have to rush. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to be here. No, there is no final destination, no medal at the top of the mountain, because the path is the practice. And when you walk it with awareness, even the most ordinary day becomes sacred. You become rooted, not rigid, still, but never stuck, quiet, but unshakable. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this may be it. Not because the timing is right, but because you're ready to listen now. You don't need to fix your entire life. You only need to show up to this breath, this moment, this practice. Let the presence grow from there. And as it does, you will find that nothing outside needs to change, because something inside already has. This is not the end. This is the return to yourself, to the path, to what has always been waiting for you in the quiet. Thank you for walking this far. If this message spoke to something real in you, support the journey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and walk with us. Until next time, stay rooted, stay aware, stay present. Before this month ends, listen.